Welcome. We're going to show you how to create a prefab, what it's good for, and how to use it. So let's get started. Right now I have this King of the Hill game object that has multiple game objects attached to it, and I want to turn that into my prefab, or into one of my prefabs. So let's right click on the project, hit create folder, and we're creating a prefab folder just to hold our prefabs. Once you've done that, you can click the King of the Hill game object or any game object you want to turn into a prefab and set it into your project window, your prefabs folder. And there you go. You've created a prefab. Now let's show you some of the helpful things that prefabs are good for. Let's drag in multiple instances of our game object and we can drag them throughout our map. Prefabs give you these three buttons, and let me show you what they're good for. You can hit select and it takes you to the prefab in your project. It takes you to the prefab in your projects window, and then you can edit the settings in there and change all your prefabs throughout the map. Say you don't want to do that, you can just change one of them by clicking in the hierarchy and hitting 10, changing the scale on just one of them. When you hit play, everything acts the same except for the scale's been changed in this one particular prefab. Say we don't want that, you can hit revert and it sets the properties back to the prefab property in our project setting. Say we want to keep that one for all of our prefabs, you can hit apply and it changes them to all of the prefabs you have in the hierarchy. Sweet, we showed you what these buttons are good for, and now let's show you why the prefab's useful. Okay, say you want to spawn multiple instances of a game object like bullet that has certain properties to that. Setting up a prefab and then spawning that prefab in the window is very useful. Also, with these King of the Hill prefabs, you might want to have a different shape on one of these prefabs, maybe a little bit bigger, or say you want to turn the King of the Hill into a square, you can do that, and then you can drag it in and create another prefab. And we can rename this King of the Hill big, and so you can reference it for later. And then when you drag it in, you can drag in multiple big instances of this King of the Hill prefab. If you had a square version, you could type square after, and then you would know that that is the square King of the Hill area prefab. This is also very beneficial for if you have multiple enemies in your scene and you want to alter them a little bit differently. So now that we showed you how to create a prefab, how to use a prefab, and what it's good for, you're ready to start creating and using your own prefabs. And in an upcoming video, we're going to show you how to export these prefabs and import them into another game project. This is helpful if you're working on a project with a friend and you don't have the base project with you, or you're keeping the base project in a separate area and then you're just dragging assets into it as you create them. So stay with us, please subscribe. Hopefully this was helpful. Let us know, leave a comment. If we missed anything, you know the drill. Thanks guys, talk to you later.